All right, very good. So we are today, it's September 16th, 2020, and we have Terry Blackwood is going to go over importing transactions in QuickBooks Online from the bank or the credit card download. This session, we're going to offer detailed instruction about the process of downloading transactions from the bank to be imported into QuickBooks. So a little bit about us. The SOP story began in 2018 when Terry and Rachel collaborated on a mutual client project. So that's when I quickly realized that Terry could deliver financials that could take the bank. Beyond financials, Terry recently compiled 30 plus years of making companies compliant at Blackwood Solutions. And she does this into a deliverable business health assessment. Terry was traveling across the U.S. as a senior business consultant and creating and implementing custom programs to turn around and reorganize and reinvent companies. And that's when we had decided we could do this on our own and formed SOP Solutions. She's our ringleader. She's the detail princess. She's the bearer of good and bad news. She's a challenge processor. And she formalizes and manages the action plan. She's ultimately responsible for providing accurate data. And that's why it's so important that we have her go through and accurately give accurate financials. And that's what really this is all about today. How can we give accurate financials from what the bank said we had? Because we want QuickBooks to match the bank. So I think that's the moral of what we're doing today. And Terry, I'm going to take the screen over to you, and I'm going to add your screen now.
You added it. All right, let me move this one out of the way. It's an instruction set, and that will be provided in a piece that can be uploaded. So transactions are available from the bank or a credit card, and most institutions, if not all institutions, have a download feature. If my QuickBooks file does not have those transactions, and I need those transactions in QuickBooks, then I need to figure out the best method to get the transactions uploaded, imported, or data entered by hand. Entering the data by hand is taking a fiscal statement, and you look at the statement and you enter them into a QuickBooks file. It's time consuming and worth it if you don't have that much data. Often, and in the example we'll use today, they have over 1,000 transactions. And at over 1,000 transactions, you don't want to data enter 1,000 transactions. So on my screen, I have what it looks like and what I want it to look like when it comes into QuickBooks. And my date, my amount, and with the way I've sorted my data and organized it, my data will come in and it will say advertising, and it has my Canva expense. And then it says Facebook and Google. And if I were to scroll down, this will have, this sample has well over 1,000 transactions. What I'm looking and wanting to do is to feed these transactions into my system, that when they're there and I process through the banking module, I can do groups of transactions. I can do a group of 12 transactions in less than 10 seconds. I can do this group of however many, 14 transactions in less than 10 seconds. And when I do 10-second intervals for massive amounts of data that's been imported, it's much, much easier than copying and pasting and adding a new transaction and that whole process. If I don't have that many, this would not be practical. So my data comes to me, and this is what this is actually from a bank, excluding the gray area. Let me move that gray area out of the way. When I downloaded this, or when someone downloaded this from the bank, it gave me my check numbers. It gave me online transfer from, payment authorized, Adobe. This is exactly what my data looks like when it comes from the bank. And it has some of this grouped, and some of this, when I group it, I can sort it in alphabetical order so that it will put all my Zelle payments together, but it's not going to always put my Zelle payments to a certain person together. It's going to put my transfers together, but not always consistently. So the challenge is on Amazon, when Amazon comes in as AMZN and Amazon comes in as Amazon, AMAZON, how do I group these easily that I can get them A, grouped, and then B, in Excel, and if, as long as you're familiar with Excel, the fill down function. And to do it, I can sort in alphabetical order. And this is that same data sorted in alphabetical order. And I identified all of these ATM withdrawals. For the time being, I'm just going to put them into petty cash. So I gave it a name, ATM withdrawal. I can use that as a rule going forward in my QuickBooks. I'm going to send it where it says category. That's also the account it's going to go to when it gets into QuickBooks. ATM cash deposit. And if you'll look right here, I have 151 bank card deposits that are the service fees this client did into their checking account. And here again, in less than a minute, I identified, because I was able to sort all my bank card deposits, I have 151 of them applied to services very, very quickly. Now, this is going to help me identify and get things coded. I'm going to scroll down, and actually, I'll use this as my example. This is my bank description. So what I did, and I'm going to recap it, I went to my bank. I said, hey, I need my transactions for date range. This one was for a whole year. Put it into a CSV file. This is what it looks like when it comes in from the CSV file. This is the exact data for whatever the time period is. This is the exact data that came from the CSV file. I right-clicked, made a copy, mover copy, create a copy, and then I called my copy CTRL. CTRL is your control. In my control, I added 2 columns. I added a name column and I added a category column. I'm going to, I also put a filter on all of these. I have the first line selected, A to E. That's going to include my date, my amount, my bank description, my name, and my category. If I go under data and click filter, it's going to take it off because it was already there. Normally when you moved it over, you click data, pull down the filter, and now I have a filter on my data. I saw all of those transactions. I just saw tons of them for Amazon. AMAZON. So that's the criteria that I want. I'm going to say OK. And it just came up with, not many, but these transactions for Amazon. I sure thought there was a lot more than this. And I'm going to send them to supplies right now. I should have paid more attention to I know that I have Annie. Annie is actually a person. Annie Abs. I had so much fun with my names. So this is a health company. It's an exercise company and has a new wave exercise equipment. So she did payroll to Annie Abs. And we're going to post Annie Abs payroll. And we're going to say Annie Abs. Is that her name? Uh-oh. Yeah, let's spell it right. There we go. And this is going to payroll. And because I was in there and I did the names. I know there's a Teresa, and it's Teresa. Oh no, it doesn't have all my names in it. Running. There we go. We got the running person. We're not going to stress on this. The gist of this is, and I need to take my filter off so I can see all of my data. If I say select all, or I could have said clear filter, now I will see all of my data. When I'm looking at this in the alphabetical order, I can see that this is going to be MECA, development, and I know that this is rent. As I've done this, and what I'm doing is I'm giving it a name, I'm giving it a category, I'm selecting all of them that I want to change, and I say Control D, which is fill down. Diving sales, that's actually for a scuba suit. So this is uniforms. Not that anyone would know, I just happen to know. And so I'm going to actually put that this is from Profile Diving. And then I got a transfers. And these transactions can go both ways, because in services, if it's a refund, it just goes in as a payment out of the company. The goal here is to go through all of your transactions and once you get them sorted and grouped, you can do them with a fill down function. I'm going to skip right here and say discover. And I know that this is a credit card, and it's going to be discovered. Sometimes you have transactions that you can download, but for whatever reason, you don't have access to the bank statements anymore. That it can be its own challenge. In this case, there's not a statement to line up to it, but all of my transactions were downloaded. So I need all of these transactions to be posted. In this world, as we keep working this file, we'll have our name and a category for all transactions. It's already been done. So when I go to working, I have my date, my amount. Oh, Betty Armstrong should have been in there. My name for the identifier, the category, and in this one I had an extra category, and I don't want to make that confusing. I marry these two. When I marry these two transactions or these two groups, when I marry these two fields, I will import this list of transactions. My import is going to be on January 30th of 2019. It's going to say $300 as a payment, and it's going to say it was advertising Facebook. When I am in my import in QuickBooks, I can line these three fields, and you only have three fields you can import. The key to it is to have this identifier, especially if you do not have a statement to compare it to. If you have a statement, it makes it easy to go and make sure that, hey, you know what, I forgot to put in the account number for the Discover card. I forgot to put in some piece of information. You can go back to a statement. If you cannot, you want to capture all of the detail from this import. This import line is pivotal. It's the information you're going to have to be able to post these transactions. This was a sample file. I'm actually going to walk through a file and show you how this happens. This file is from American Express, heads up. This is what it looks like. It's nicer because it actually has in the description, it starts with the company name. Definitely an advantage. With this group, well, we should probably change some names. We had a card member name there, and then we have the account number. If you are going to maintain credit cards for multiple employees, you can do the first part of this process the same way we just identified. We're going to do the import. This is our import file. I'm going to call it, this is the, from the bank. What do we call that? Download? This is our downloaded file. We're going to move and copy, create a copy, and check the box, create a copy. And now it says download it to. My download to, this is going to be my control, CTRL. There's some other pieces that you can do with this file to make it its own self-contained trial balance, identified by profit and loss statement items and by balance sheet items. It's not even going to be in one of these segments, but I'm happy to help someone if they needed to do that function. In my control file, I need to categorize. I want to do my filter. So I'm going to grab the top line, and I'm not grabbing the whole line. I only want to grab the cells that I want to filter by. Data, filter. I select it by the line number because we always sort by the line number. I'm hitting Shift, Control, Arrow, and it takes me to my last record. I'm going to hit Tab, and I'm going to sort. I'm going to sort by the column C because that's where my description is. With this sort, I'm going to create, I needed some space, I'm blind. So I'm going to create a column that says name, category. And what I have failed to finish saying, if you're going to do this and you want to track expenses by individual employees that have a card, American Express and some other groups will let you do that export and include that information. I'm not trying to downplay anything. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to preach here. I'm just making this point clearly. After I do this, I would incorporate into what I import this name or this account number. I would use that in my import string, and I'll show you how to do an import string. I would also need to break this file up by the same number of people that I have credit cards for that are separate, and I would need to align each of those imports into QuickBooks into a separate account in QuickBooks. We're not doing that for this case. Normally we would. 6500 Street Shell, that's Shell Oil. Academy. I'm going to say it's uniforms, not sure, not stressed. Auto. And in fact, and with this Shell, we're going to make it fuel. Amazon Marketplace, today it's going to be, we're going to make it office. And I'm just going to fill down. American Express points, very nice. When you earn points, they are called CC rewards, credit card rewards, and it's actually an income account. And I know it's an other income. I'm going to put that in my category so that it comes up, other income, and then it will tell me that it's American Express when I marry it. And I'm just selecting the cells and doing a fill down. I have angels. All right. And that's going to be fuel. I sure wish that there were APM electronics. It's going to be job supplies. Job supplies are cost of goods sold. Job material, in fact. And this is going to be APM electronics. I could write, I'm not going to because that's not today's session. I could write something for this American Express to make this easier. I could write something that would take and pull out the first X number of characters because this is in order by the vendor that received the money. And not doing that, I would be happy to show someone how to do that if they had the same kind of setup. And I'll do a couple more here. AutoZone. And this AutoZone is going to be actually AutoZone. And it starts populating for me. Baker Distribution is going to be, Baker Distribution, might not put it in here because I only have one of them. Why would I don't need to keep up with who the Baker Group is. I'm doing this sideways and I'm off. I don't need to keep up with who the Baker Group is if there's only one transaction for them, except the transaction is for $2,100. I should probably know who that is. So I'm going to actually, the key to, do I enter it or not? Is it enough money that if I was audited, I should probably be able to tell someone who it is. If you have a certain setting in Excel, it will also learn what you're doing. Best Buy, here we go. Now it's on. Best Buy, and this is going to be cost of goods, job material. Thank you very much. I didn't do as many as I thought I would. I'm comfortable that at this point, this is pretty much self-explanatory. As I go down my file, I'm going to look. Oh, look at all those chevrons. They must be close. I got City of Houston parking meters, DoorDash. Let's go to DoorDash. I think most people know DoorDash as food restaurant. And in fact, RN-restaurant. The code is, if I set up a vendor in my QuickBooks, it says RN. When I type the letters RN in category, it will come up and it will say restaurant for me. And I don't have to type out the whole word. I don't have to do a lot of looking. And in this case, I'm just calling it a restaurant. I could, and I would make this more, I would give it a name besides restaurant on the other side. If my amount is $1,300 and that was a restaurant, I'd probably need to tell somebody, I need to break it out as to what the restaurant is. And most of what you do in your QuickBooks is going to align what did you tell the IRS last year and what are you going to tell them this year, and you want things to line up. I had fuel in the beginning because it's real easy to identify fuel. If you don't break out fuel, that's fine. If last year you had $5,000 of auto, and this year you have $10,000 of auto, and that 10,000 was 4 sets of tires, because that's how many you went through this year, you would want to break out those tires from fuel and say, hey, this is why it was so much. This is where you can identify those transactions easily. The more that you identify here, the more you'll like me and you'll appreciate this. All right, let's go down. Oh, wow, we got a lot of FedEx. Not sure what happens with FedEx, but we're going to FedEx. On the IRS actually has a category called postage. It's a default. Nobody breaks out their postage, and it doesn't need to be. I'm just having fun with that and letting you know that it's there. The IRS also breaks out parking and tolls. So last year, if you had parking and tolls in your auto, maybe break it out this year so that your auto starts going down, but it's understood why it's changing. And I'm calling it parking and tolls, and it's not in front of me, so I'm not sure if that's parking and tolls or tolls and parking, but easily fixed. HEB. All right. Oh, this is primarily from one card, and it appears, although we're not going to say anything, it could be from the owner. However, HEB, I promise you, he went there more times than this in the course of a year, and this isn't that much money. And it's on his business card. My guess, and what I'm going to code this in as, is HEB Job Supplies. We're in Houston, or I think most of us are. And with that being the case, we go through some water. That is probably where someone said, hey, put this aside when we go through the HEB line. And when I go through the HEB line and buy that water, let me get it on a different card. It's a separated purchase to identify, hey, this is not my personal, this is for me, and this is for the company. So I just type fuel and HEB gas. I don't want to put HEB gas as one of my vendors. He only did it twice, so it's just not worth it. HEB to you. All right. Now I gotta get a little clever. You know what? I'm gonna do HEB entertainment. It's gonna be a question. I'm gonna call this Ask My Accountant. When I marry this and it comes into my QuickBooks, it's going to go to my Ask My Accountant. That's where I'm sending this, that transaction. I need to ask my client, I need to ask and figure out, hey, was this really deductible? Because you only did it a couple of times. Was it maybe, and if I was looking, so the one on 12/20, absolutely it's deductible. And I can tell you right now, on 12/20, that was a Christmas party. Someone else can argue the point. I'm just saying, if you kind of use some logic while you have the data available in this kind of format, once you post it in, it just becomes second nature. You don't have to stress and give it a lot of time. You're going to post it in big sections. So when I post this, I am going to do HEB because I saw Christmas and I saw Thanksgiving. And this is actually going to go, I call it an employee cost. It's deductible. It went to my employees. It wasn't for my home entertainment. It wasn't for having my clients come over. These are going to be like, I'm using the scenario if I was questioned on that. Oh, I'm sure that's the potluck that they did at the office. It could go under meals, but it's actually 100% deductible meals. So if I put it under just regular meals, it's not being deducted. If I put it under regular meals, it's being deducted at 50%. If I put it under an employee cost, hey, we can debate that later. Hill Country. Hill Country, oh my goodness, wow. A lumber company for $30, oh, that's straight up repair. Hilton Inn. Oh, definitely. I'm going to add me a Hilton. They probably like the Hilton. And this is travel. I got a hitching post. Oh, I put too many Hiltons? I did. So the hitching post sounds like a restaurant. Oh, where's my RN? Ah, I'm sad. It's not remembering. It's not picking it up. Meal? I called it restaurant up above, didn't I? Yeah, I should have put meal up above. I'll fix that. Houston Fence. You know what? Houston Fence is $600. I better be able to explain how I got a $600 expense. And I'm going to say that this is a repair. Oh, fuel, 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 fuel. I don't need to add those as vendors, and I want to post them over to fuel. Prime Camera. The group we're working with is actually an audio visual company. And so that Prime Camera is job material, and it's $52, but they might use them again. So let me just go ahead, because now, if that vendor comes up again, or if I need to research, hey, who was that group? Where did we get cameras from? I can do that within QuickBooks. And that was a cost of goods, and it's job materials. Interest, Jack in the Box, et cetera. Kroger. Now, Kroger, we've been doing some shopping at the old Kroger. Got Kroger Fuel. Oh, it's all Kroger Fuel. I'm going to add a Kroger Fuel. They must be close to them, and they're real likely to use it again. So we'll just keep that as a regular vendor in the QuickBooks. Make it kind of know. Lowe's. Oh, we're doing some serious Lowe's stuff. And Lowe's is in line with their cost of goods job material. Materials. All right. And we're at 32 minutes. We're good. I think this becomes more than self-explanatory for how to code things. And I'm hoping it comes through as the validity of what makes it worth it. Sunoco. Nobody wants to post Sunoco all those times. Failing to group this. Now, one of the advantages that this would have if I didn't do this step is when it came into QuickBooks, it would have had the name in alphabetical order that I could sort it in QuickBooks. So I wouldn't necessarily have to do all of this function. I need this file, and so I'm using it. It's real-time work. The other piece is you do not want to do this with a bank. You don't want to just directly import from a bank. The bank transactions get very messy in trying to identify, group them, and post them in QuickBooks. All right, so we're going to, we'll just sort it. I was at the bottom. I selected the line number. I hit my shift and my control and my arrow up, and it went all the way to the 1. I let go of the control key, and I hit one line down. It selected all of the area that I want to sort. I'm clicking my tab. In my tab, and in fact, I don't even need my tab because I want to sort by, I'm going to sort, custom sort. I want to sort by column H, No, I want to sort by column I. Column I is my category. I'm going to add a level, and I'm going to sort by column H. If I had not taken off my header line, I could say my data has a header, and it would have showed me the date, receipt, description, and I could have had those values to look at. I did not. So I went all the way to that line. I'm telling it, hey, sort by column I, which is my category, put all my categories together, and sort by column H, which is my vendor. There I go. Now, this gets a little trickier, and I'm going to go to my file and suggest that you write this down. Okay. We are marrying this information. Let's not use this one, I'm sorry. I will do custom ones to get extra information in there, because when it gets to QuickBooks, I want more than just the, someone's given me information. They told me that they did a $5,000 payment as part of a credit card paid on behalf of the employee. I'm going to note that in my description when I import this transaction, but that's because I have background information. All that we're trying to do now is just a real simple marry the information we've collected so that we can take and make a valid description to import into QuickBooks. In my file, I have my category, because I went through and I did all my categories for my transactions. And let's ignore that category because that was for another. Sorry about that. That's okay. So I have my category, and then I have my name. I want all of my stuff to come in with my category. I want all of my cost of goods to be able to be sorted to the top of my import when I get it into QuickBooks. I want all of my fuel to be wherever. I want this in a very logical order. In my logical order, if on fuel, I sort by the vendor name first, I can't post as much information. The other thing that happens, and this is so important to understand, I categorize Kroger Fuel, I categorize Chevron, Shell. I gave those vendors a name when I was posting them. This description will stay in your QuickBooks under description. So now where I had, and let's go over there and look at my file for just a second, the one that we just worked on. So this file right here, we sorted by the category. So I had Angels because I saw several Angels, and I saw Kroger Fuel, and I saw Sunoco. If I went all the way through the fuel, I probably have 300 transactions. Okay? When I import, when I marry the transactions, which is what we're going to write down on how to marry the transaction, when I marry that transaction in my description, I'm not going to, I could say, hey, take this 27 fuel transactions and post them to Kroger, and take the 14 and post them to Sunoco. Nobody cares. I have it in my description. When I sort and when I put my category first, I can post all 119 to a vendor that says fuel and a category that says fuel. And if anybody cares where the fuel was purchased, it will be in my description. I saw this file enough to know it's at least 300 is what we would have done here. In the file that we were starting from scratch. This file already has been done. This is your calculation. Okay? See the red? See the blue? And if you'll write this down, it's equals the blue. When I'm looking at that column, in my description, it says E33. And it's not that it's always going to be E33. The E is the column that you want to start with. The 33 happens to be the line this is on. So it's column, and in this case, it's an E. Row, in this case, it's 33. And ampersand, no space, a quote, the quote sign. Then this has a colon. I'm going to add a space after my colon. I just added it. Close quote, ampersand, C, because C is the column I'm looking at, and then 33 because 33 is the row. I don't know if it comes through on the screen, but it just added a space after. Actually, it added a space before my, no, it added a space after. Yeah, it's fine. I'm going to go do that function and show you how it works in this file, okay? This is my control copy. In my control, I'm going to create my description. My description, and in fact, what it doesn't matter if I do this here or if I do it in my next screen. We'll do it here, okay? So I'm gonna call this description. It's equals, and I'm going to my column, my line number is 2. And then I have an ampersand. My ampersand, I need a quote. I'm gonna put a space. No, I don't want a space before my colon. My colon, then a space, my ampersand, no, close quote. Let me repeat this. My column that I'm doing is the category. My category is in column I. Column I, row 2. Then I added my ampersand, my quote, and just 1 second. This is too precarious to get wrong. And I want H. All right, I got out of it, and I want H. I'm gonna do this again just to. All right, so now I'm clicked in it, I'm editing it. When I click this H, it should give me my H. I'm going to check this. Rachel's going to edit this part out, so I'm cool. Rachel, agree with me?
All right, I muted so that my typing wasn't. Can you give me that formula? I'm trying to create a banner for it. Maybe you can tell me what the formula is again, and I'll create the banner.
You know what? So this is where we're going to pick it back up. And we're using live data, so yes. So the formula is equals.
Hang on just a second, Terry. I just wanted to give ourselves a marker on where to edit the video when it comes back around.
Our formula
Okay,
is
go ahead.
to marry the cells category and name. To marry the category and name, it's a function. So we're going to do equals. And if you're looking at our graphic in our file, we're using the I column, and it's the row number 2. So ours says I2.
And then the column, and then the row.
Then an ampersand.
Can you blow up your screen? Maybe we can see it more.
Let's see.
Because that would help too. So equal, and then it's the column.
Just a second. That's going to get very confusing.
And I guess most important is that Alicia and Regina are understanding this formula, and they're seeing how it's being done
too. This
too.
will go to our clients too, for them to do this function. I don't know why it doesn't want to blow up.
That's okay. So it's the equal sign, the column, the row, and then the ampersand, which is the and sign.
Here, hold on a second. It just wouldn't do it when I was in the cell still. To get the colors, I double click on the cell, and then it will show me the fields that. If I double click on the cell, the coloring of the letters that represent the column and the number will be displayed in the same color as the fields that are in that formula. So I2 is blue. That's in my category column, row 2, called advertising. H2 is column H, line 2, and that's in red. And the formula, again, is equals the column letter, in this case I, the row number, in this case 2, an ampersand, a quote, it's the double quote. I put a colon to differentiate. I put a space to differentiate. I close my quote. I need another ampersand. Then I have H for my column and 2 for my row.
And this is for merging, or for marrying or merging, right?
Yes, marrying, merging.
Merging.
So I have, can I use this for this? So it's equals, column, row number, ampersand, quote, colon, space, close quote, ampersand, column, row number for what was married. Now that I have my formula, I'm going to copy it all the way down. There we go. This is awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm excited. Let me hide that other screen. Let me make my computer work. There we go. So now, when I import, I only have three fields I can import, period. I cannot use anything else but the 3. That's my control copy. I can come to control and I can change Best Buy to Buy by Best. I mean, I can work with my data because this has my formula. I cannot put a formula. I cannot import a formula into QuickBooks. When I say control, I'm going to right click, move and copy my control. Okay. This is going to become my CSV export. So several things have to happen here. One, I want to put my description as the next field. QuickBooks has a little bit of leniency when you import, but typically it's the date comes first, then the date comes first, and then the description, and then the amount. And the amount will ask you, is it negative and positive, or do you have two columns? If you can, it's easiest to make it one. It works well to make it one column. My description over here, my description has the formula all the way down. I cannot import a formula. I'm going to copy my description. I'm going to paste my description, paste options 1, 2, 3. That means it no longer has the formula. It only has the value of what the formula has. I need my amount. I'm going to cut my amount, and I'm going to insert my amount. Okay? These are the only three columns. These are the only three pieces, the only three fields that I can import. I'm going to delete the rest. Woohoo! Got kind of far there. This just became my CSV export. I'm going to save my file. This CSV export, it's not a CSV file. I only have a CSV export tab. I'm going to move and create a new spreadsheet. I want to keep it where it was, but now I need my new spreadsheet to come up. Oh, I don't know what that is. Where's my new spreadsheet? There it is. It's called Book One, and that's common. And let me get it over on the screen. So it's common that they call it Book One because it's a brand new spreadsheet. It does not have a name. Do not try to put this into another file. Do not try to do any of those things. Heads up, sometimes when you import, and let me see if I can show you an example. This is not always a date. Sometimes it looks like a date. If it looks like a date and it has a little symbol up above it, you need to convert it in Excel to make sure it's a date. And it will even look like a little error message.
Oh God, yes, that caused me so much grief.
In saying that, hold on just a second. I think, see that little box up there? It's going to, oh, it didn't do it. Here it is. That's not what it is. I'm just trying to show you. It will have a graphic similar to that. It's normally yellow. You have to convert it to a date. It will not import if it's not a date that's recognized. And in saying that, it might import, but I don't want to know what it looks like. It's not going to be right.
Oh, it's messy. It's not right. And then it's, it's certainly.
Yeah. So make sure that your date is correct. So on our Book One, because that's where it sent our CSV information, I'm going to do a File, Save As. I'm going to put it in my statements to upload. It doesn't really matter, except when you do your download from your bank, make sure you know where you saved it. Do not call it the same thing as the file that you're going to upload into QuickBooks. When you do this save as, make sure you know where you're going to save this. This is going to be an Amex. So, well, actually, I'll go ahead and do this. XAV.
And quite frankly, best practice is we're saving it in the file of the client.
Oh, definitely.
Best practice is that, you're on the C drive, and then you either, and then you save it because you have the drive connected and you've saved it to the client file. You've properly labeled it in the nomenclature, right?
That's specific to our guests, Regina and Alicia, who we're doing this for. So if anyone else,
I'm going to edit that part out. I think we'll use this for internal training too.
Definitely. So this is pretty interesting from my world of 36 years of it was multi-plan in the beginning, and we didn't have nearly this many options. So now this new Excel stuff, we had a CSV option. This has CSV all over the place. This one will work. The CSV file just says it's common to limited data. This one right here works too, the CSV further down that just says CSV. This is a more advanced version of Excel. If you have an older copy of Excel, it's just going to have that one CSV. And it might have Macintosh and DOS. Don't even touch those. And you can use this one or you can use this one. We're going to use this one, old standby. And we're going to say save. All right. I wasn't going to do this, but just for you, I'm going to go into the QuickBooks. What the heck? All right, I'm going to log into QuickBooks, hopefully. Is it doing it? Oh, it is. Oh, and I'm there. So I want to go to banking. Oh man, the banking module has been down all day. Let me go to my dashboard. So this little icon, that's another way that I know it says, excuse us, we've untied our shoe or something. Let's try it again. So when I come here, if I don't have to go to banking. I could just immediately click on one of the bank accounts. This will take me to the same place. And I'm doing an American Express, and they don't have it linked, which is fine. That's fine, because now I'm going to walk you through this from scratch. Banking to the right, to the left, or clicking on one of the bank accounts, it gets me into the banking module. I just need to be in this banking module. I'm going to say, hey, I need to upload from a file. All the way at the right-hand side, it says link account. I'm going to pull down to upload from file. If I was going to connect a bank, I would do it here, securely connect your bank. We're going to upload a file. And when we upload our file, you know what, hold on just a second. So in doing this upload, we did it into QuickBooks, into Excel, so that we could categorize large numbers of imports, large numbers of transactions. If you have a download that's available because someone else did it and they say, hey, we want a QBO, lots of banks have the QBO, QFX. I would not do text. Text is very ugly. Don't try it. If you have a text file, convert it into Excel. But the QBO, QFX, and the I guess there's two QFX, OFX, Those files can be imported if that's all you have. They're a little more difficult to open in Excel, so I would not recommend. I recommend trying it, but just don't feel real confident that you're going to be successful with it. It will not take an Excel file, so make sure it's not Excel. We're going to go get our CSV. I can get rid of some of that stuff so XAV will come up faster. All right, I happen to have two. So I need to look and make sure I have the right one. And in fact, this is where I did it earlier. This is where I just did it. So that was my virgin data up there. This is my new data. I'm going to say next. If you're going to do this function, please let me know and I will help you every step of the way, because it is so worthwhile to make sure it's done correctly the first time than it is to go back and fix. So my date is my date. That's cool. My description, you know what? It's my description. That's exactly where I have it. My columns, my order, my columns, which I can't see here, is date, description, and amount. Down here, I have two options. A lot of times your transactions from some of these bank accounts will come in with a credit and a debit, and you'll need to separate them. Heads up, I always do it wrong the first time. So this is saying that, well, actually, this is kind of a new piece right here. So yeah, if you get it separated like that, that's not so bad. I'm going to say one. I'm going to do debits and credits. It already knows it's a credit card, okay? Because I told it when I set up the bank, when I set up that credit card, it already knew. I'm going to say next. Something went wrong. Oh, where's my amount? Why did it not take my amount?
You know what I noticed about this, Terry, when I just did this the other day?
What's that?
Is that I had to go ahead and zero out, make a zero line, and those debits and credits, I had to separate them out. I haven't been able to. Now I know you've done it, but I haven't been able to get it to work with that one column on credit card. It made debit and credit, and then so what I ended up doing is I made a new.
That makes sense. I hear what you're saying, because it's like, how the freak did it get over here?
Yeah, and so what I ended up
for the transaction. Yeah, right.
And so when you say 3 columns, what I've been doing is turning it into 4 columns. And I've been doing the debits and then credits, and then I label it debits and credits so I don't get confused.
So here's what you would do with that.
Mm-hmm.
You would say here on the amount, it just needs to know the money received. So on a credit card, the money received is the one that's in the third, and then it's going to pick up the 4th column and know that that's the other one. Okay.
Okay.
So on one, it will read it. It should read it correctly as long as it has negative and positive numbers.
Let's see. I don't think it will. I haven't been able to get it to do it.
Let's see.
I mean, I hope it does. That'd be wonderful.
So here, earlier I hadn't selected my third column.
So then now it's a credit card. Are those coming in as credits or are those coming in as debits? I'm going to assume those are going to come in as credits and services. Is that a credit card?
It is.
Or did the pivot table, was it negative numbers?
It did for the payment.
It said payment. We'll see how does it come through? Does it come through? Oh, comes through. Did it come through as sent or as received?
Oh, hold on. I'm
or
looking at
both.
Let me go get my account. I'm looking at it going, oh my God, that doesn't even look like what I just imported. Here we go. It's 544. Dun, dun, it came in wrong.
Yeah, so you have to make 4 columns is the way that I've been getting it.
No. I remember what I did with this. Okay. Oh man, effed up. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to. Right here. Let me get those out of there. Not working, and I'll show you how to fix what that is for the amount. What I want to show you right now.
And getting rid of her mistake.
Exclude these immediately. I got 544 transactions I do not want in there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm doing this like almost blindly. And my fear is, well, I could be getting, I do have some 2020 transactions. Let me
In the bank.
one more time. So when I exclude them, that means do not send them. Do not send them. Do not accept them, because it will throw off all of your, it's going to throw off your balance sheet and everything. Now that they're excluded, I can say delete. I don't want them in there at all. If your import gets messed up, do not keep the data in there. Don't try to fix it, not in QuickBooks. Delete the data and do it better than me, because I wasn't being very careful. I'm just banking on I did it right. Back here, and I can do this in my CSV file, and I'm going to, because equals that cell times -1. So what I just did, I just reversed the amount of money that I'm going to have for all of these.
Okay, and then let's see if that works. It should. So if you do, and like that positive.
I could do two things. One, I need to reverse the amount of money. Okay, that's going to be step one. Step two, remember this is a formula. I can't import a formula. I'm going to copy my new negative number. I'm going to paste special my new negative number, and I'm going to get rid of that column.
Okay. Because the formula will not import.
Oh, shit. This isn't my file that I wanted. So that's not the one that I wanted. Don't save. Is that the one that I wanted? Yeah, it is. This is my working file. I actually overrode the file that they sent me, but I can download it again. So this right here, I need to take this CSV export. I'm going to move or copy it. I'm going to create the copy. I'm going to send it to a new book. I'm going to say, okay, this is only sending over my CSV. So now it actually says book number 2. I'm going to do a file, save as. I'm going to put it back in my statements. I want it to be a CSV file. I use the regular CSV file. And I'm going to need to name it. I'm going to name it the same name as the last one I did. And a lot of times, so what this is telling me on the CSV file, there's my client, there's my credit card, there's my account number. I'm identifying this as my CSV file, and I have a date. A lot of times after my date, I'll even start putting times on it. If I had those 5 people, or however many people they have, if I had all of those people identified, I would have 5 different uploads into 5 different accounts. And the reason I would do that is if I had American Express for 5 individuals, 5 employees, and they were going to go forward and have those credit cards in the future, I would need to do each of those as a separate upload. And in my Mary, in my merged piece right here, this merged piece right here would also include the account number and the name of each person. So save and reduce, and we're going to go upload from our file, and we're going to say, hey, go get my CSV. And my CSV, I also do this a lot to make sure it's the last one that I saved. It's a CSV file. and say File Open. I'm going to say Next. I'm going to say put this to that 5005 American Express card. And I'm going to say Next. And I'm going to say, hey, make my amount here, and I have negative and positives in there. I'm going to say Next. I'll say, all right, cool. That's good. I can sort in here. Maybe not. All of the transactions are selected to come in. Right now, I know that I only have some of them with the category and whatever. So we're just doing a test anyway. So what I'm going to do is take that off. That button just deselected everything. So now I'm just going to select a handful of them. All right, come on. Come on. Down here, where we didn't categorize them, they're going to come in with nothing. See all of these? I have an amount and no description. It won't work. It won't work, period. You'd have to go back to the statement for every single one of them. That would be a bloody freaking nightmare. All right, so now we're just going to import that, however many transactions that was. And in fact, hold on just a second, don't knock me out. Let me show you what happens.
Did you just say if it doesn't have a payee, don't import it?
You can't import the payee if it doesn't have a description. So if I don't have
If it doesn't have a description, then don't import it because you don't know where it's going to be. So don't even bother. So when you're looking and you're accepting all those transactions, make sure that make sure that there's description in each one. Payee,
Okay.
like you said.
That's interesting. I don't even know if it grabbed it because I don't see anything. Oh, there it is. No description available from American Express. So these are the ones that I did as the sample.
Mm-hmm.
It actually says no description available. It defaulted it to payroll and wages, which is hysterical. So now, because my description, remember what I did with it? This right here. All my restaurants. I can say update, and I can say, hey, this is just RN restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an RN in there? No. Oh, there it is. RN restaurant, no space. And then my category is meal. And I could apply and accept. I could just apply it, that I could see it here. I'm doing nothing because I don't want those transactions.
I was just going to say, isn't this a real? Are we posting 18? I thought we were done with 18.
Not at all. There's several more accounts.
Are you doing this for real?
No, we're getting ready to. I mean, that's what we're going to do when we.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you had created a dummy file, and now I see we're in the real file, and I'm like, are you going to accept those transactions? Are those real? They look like wrong transactions. Are they right?
No, those were real transactions. Absolutely.
Oh, they were. Okay, so you're actually doing.
I'm just not done with the file yet.
Got it.
So we did X amount during the time of going through this process. But no, we're going to fix it. We're going to do that same CSV file after everything's been categorized, and then we will upload it. And then that will be that 5,055,005. Then there's a Discover, and let me show you Discover real quickly. Just a second. There it is. I don't think there's any transactions for the Discover. How many pages is this?
We're missing a lot of Discover. Did you get more?
I don't think we had any. All we had were payments.
No, we hardly had any Discover. We had like 3 statements, I think.
Oh, I didn't know we had any. So this is the statements beginning to end, and so I'm gonna have Regina key all of these in.
Okay, cool.
It's only 3 pages. It's to convert this to Excel. Yes, you can. To convert
Oh.
this to Excel, to change everything on it, to do the import, and then bring it in the way we just did it, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Totally. It's much easier because you still have to go in and post the transactions from the bank feed. It's just easier to go into the bank register and add those transactions.
So this right here,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many transactions are on here, but this is the 2018 Home Depot that I don't think got keyed in.
It did not get keyed in. Okay, perfect.
And then, okay, so that's Home Depot, that's American. These were all the ones that I think they got uploaded. They just didn't get entered.
They got put into the drive.
Right.
Oh, and uploaded. What do you mean uploaded?
To the drive.
Yeah, I mean we organized everything we had.
Yeah.
Alicia, did you finish the project of the 2019 statements and what we need?
Yes, I left them all in red on the Excel file.
Oh yes, you said that. Okay. So moving into what we need for 19 to Terry on those statements, because we are missing statements. And I don't know, you know how sometimes they came in through Dropbox and you didn't give us it's not that you didn't give us access. We just
I renamed all of them before I sent them in the email to say, hey, upload these. So everything from the Dropbox that was there, I went through the checklist and I uploaded everything.
Well, I only did it for 18. I didn't do it for 19, and Alicia did it for 19.
Okay. So whatever I sent up there is what's there.
Well, I just wanted to confirm that with you before we drafted the email to him that, okay, now we're moving on to 19. Boy, if we had view only access, this sure would be a lot easier.
You got the email that I sent back to her, right?
Probably did.
Yeah. I told her that we need to have a face-to-face.
Yeah.
And soon.
Mm-hmm.
She was asking for the invoice to be sent by the 15th going forward.
Okay.
And I said that we would going forward and that we'll get her an invoice pretty soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hesitant to send an invoice when we don't have everything up there. And so the emails that I sent last week, or I think I sent them on the 8th, with the things that needed to happen in this file, that stuff never happened. And so that's what I'm going to have Regina do now.
Those things did happen. That's in those emails. I mean, we can go through those if you want to keep doing the live video, and we can do that right now, or we can wrap this piece up and go through where we sit with it.
It's right at 3 o'clock. If you're available, you want to get on a Google call?
Yeah. So let's wrap this up. I'll just end this broadcast here, and we can wrap it up in a different way with a summary. But at the very least, we have some. We have some
meat in there, I think.
Say that again.
I think there's some good meat in there. Just now it's at 120. Obviously, there's portions to take out.
Yeah, for